the positive side of anxiety, how it can push you forward. All right, let's talk about anxiety. Most people think of it as a bad thing, something that holds them back, makes them second-guess themselves, or just straight up ruins their peace of mind. But here's the deal. Anxiety isn't always the enemy. In fact, when managed correctly, it can be a powerful tool for growth, focus, and success. Sounds crazy? Let me explain. 1. Anxiety keeps you sharp and aware. Think about it. Anxiety is literally built into our survival instincts. Back in the day, our ancestors had to worry about getting eaten by wild animals. That little spike of fear, it kept them alive. It made them more alert, more cautious, and better at spotting danger before it happened. Now, fast forward to today. We might not be running from lions, but anxiety still serves a purpose. It makes us pay attention to risks, stay prepared, and avoid stupid mistakes. Example, ever get that anxious feeling before crossing a busy street? That's your brain saying, hey, be careful. Look both ways. Anxiety, in this case, is literally protecting you. 2. Anxiety boosts performance if you use it right. This might surprise you, but science backs it up. There's something called the Yerkes-Dodson law, which basically says that a moderate amount of anxiety actually improves performance. Here's how it works. Too little anxiety. You don't care enough. You procrastinate. You don't try your best. Too much anxiety. You panic. You freeze. You overthink everything. Just the right amount. You're focused, driven, and at the top of your game. Example, think about a student preparing for an exam. If they don't care at all, they won't study. If they're too anxious, they might overthink and burn out. But if they have a healthy amount of nervous energy, they'll stay motivated, study smarter, and actually perform better on test day. So, next time you feel nervous before a big event, a presentation, an interview, or even a first date, don't fight the anxiety. Use it. Let it sharpen your focus and push you to do your best. 3. Anxiety shows you care. Here's something no one talks about. Anxiety is proof that you actually care about something. If you weren't worried at all, it probably wouldn't matter to you. Example 1. A parent worrying about their kid's future. That's love. Example 2. An employee stressing about doing a good job. That's dedication. Sure, too much anxiety can be overwhelming, but the fact that you feel it means you're invested. It means you want to do well. And that's a good thing. So, is anxiety good or bad? It all comes down to how you handle it. If you let anxiety control you, it can make life miserable. But if you learn how to channel it, it can be a powerful tool for success. So here's the real question. How do you turn anxiety from a problem into an advantage? That's exactly what we're diving into next. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next part where I'll break down real, science-backed strategies to control anxiety and make it work for you. Let's do this. The dark side of anxiety, when worry becomes a burden. All right, let's get real about anxiety. We just talked about how it can be a good thing, how it keeps you sharp, focused, and prepared. But let's be honest, sometimes anxiety isn't helpful at all. Sometimes it's just exhausting. You know what I'm talking about. That kind of anxiety that doesn't push you forward, but instead holds you back, drains your energy, and makes everything feel harder than it needs to be. That's when anxiety goes from being a helpful tool to a heavy burden. So, let's break it down. How does that happen? And more importantly, how do you stop it? 1. When anxiety stops being helpful. Anxiety is supposed to keep you alert, not completely paralyze you. But when it gets too intense, it does the exact opposite. Instead of making you more prepared, it makes you overthink, procrastinate, and second-guess yourself. Example, imagine you have an important work presentation tomorrow. A little bit of nervous energy? That's good. It pushes you to prepare. But what if you're so anxious that you stay up all night worrying about every possible mistake, replaying worst-case scenarios in your head, and by the time you actually present, you're sleep-deprived and unfocused? That's when anxiety hurts instead of helps. The worst part, you know your thoughts aren't rational, but you can't turn them off. 2. When anxiety takes over your body. Anxiety isn't just a mental thing, it's physical too. Racing heart, check. Tight chest, check. Sweaty palms, shaky hands, knots in your stomach. Oh yeah, anxiety's got it all. Your body is literally acting like there's a life or death situation happening, even when there isn't. It's your fight or flight system going haywire, and let me tell you, it's exhausting. Example, ever had anxiety so bad that you feel physically sick? Maybe you couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, or even felt dizzy? That's anxiety taking over your nervous system, and it's no joke. 3. When anxiety stops you from living your life. Now, this is the worst part. When anxiety gets really bad, it doesn't just mess with your thoughts and body, it starts affecting your entire life. You avoid things that make you anxious, even if they're important. You turn down opportunities because you're afraid of failing. You miss out on experiences because your mind won't stop overanalyzing everything. Example, let's say you get invited to a big event. You want to go, but your anxiety is screaming. What if it's awkward? What if people judge you? What if you say something stupid? So, you stay home instead. And just like that, anxiety robbed you of an experience that could have been great. So, how do you break free? If any of this sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Anxiety can feel overwhelming, but here's the truth. It doesn't have to control you. In the next part, I'll break down real, science-backed strategies to stop overthinking, calm your body, and actually take back control of your mind. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. This could be the game changer you've been waiting for. When is anxiety good? And when does it become a problem? All right, let's be real, anxiety isn't always a bad thing. We've talked about how it can push you to be better, stay focused, and even protect you from danger. But there's a fine line between healthy anxiety that helps you and crippling anxiety that holds you back. So, how do you know when anxiety is working for you and when it's working against you? Let's break it down. 1. When anxiety is a good thing. Anxiety gets a bad reputation, but the right amount of it is actually necessary for success. It keeps you prepared, feeling nervous before an exam or big presentation. That's a sign your brain is telling you this is important. You need to focus. That's a good thing. It keeps you safe, that uneasy feeling when you walk alone at night. That's anxiety helping you stay aware of your surroundings and avoid danger. It pushes you to grow. If you never felt anxious about failing, you probably wouldn't work hard, try new things, or step out of your comfort zone. Example, think about an athlete before a big game. Their heart is racing, they feel butterflies in their stomach, but instead of freezing up, they channel that energy into their performance. That's the good kind of anxiety, the kind that sharpens your focus instead of overwhelming you. Bottom line, anxiety is good when it motivates you and helps you perform better. 2. When anxiety becomes a problem. Now, let's talk about when anxiety stops being helpful and starts being a roadblock. It makes you overthink everything instead of using anxiety as motivation. You spiral into a loop of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. It holds you back from opportunities you turn down, chances to grow, because your brain is screaming, what if you fail? What if people judge you? It physically drains you headaches, tense muscles, trouble sleeping, stomach issues. Yep, anxiety doesn't just mess with your mind, it affects your entire body. Example, imagine someone who wants to apply for their dream job. But instead of submitting their application, they obsess over every possible way they could fail. Days turn into weeks, and they never even apply. Anxiety didn't push them forward, it paralyzed them. Bottom line, anxiety is a problem when it stops you from taking action and enjoying life. 3. How to tell the difference. Here's a simple way to check if your anxiety is helpful or harmful. Helpful anxiety motivates you to prepare and take action, lasts for a short time, and disappears after the event is over. Helps you stay focused and alert. Harmful anxiety makes you freeze instead of act. Stays with you even when there's no real danger. Causes stress, exhaustion, and self-doubt. So what's next? If your anxiety is helpful, embrace it. Use it to stay sharp, work hard, and push yourself forward. But if your anxiety is holding you back, it's time to take control. The good news? You can train your brain to work with anxiety instead of against it. In the next part, I'll show you practical, science-backed strategies to stop overthinking, reset your nervous system, and actually start enjoying life again. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Let's take back control together. How to take control of anxiety like a pro. All right, so we've talked about anxiety, when it's helpful, when it's harmful, and how it can either push you forward or hold you back. But here's the real question. How do you actually control it? Because let's be honest, telling yourself to just relax or stop worrying never works. If it did, no one would struggle with anxiety. The key isn't to eliminate anxiety, because that's impossible, but rather to manage it in a way that keeps you in control, not the other way around. So, let's dive into real, science-backed techniques that actually help you break free from overthinking, stop anxiety from controlling your life, and train your brain to work with you instead of against you. 1. Get out of your head. Shift your focus to the present. One of the biggest reasons anxiety feels overwhelming is because it traps you in your thoughts. Your brain starts racing with worst-case scenarios, and suddenly you're spiraling into a loop of fear and overthinking. The fastest way to break out of this cycle: shift your focus back to the present. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. This is a therapist-approved technique that interrupts anxiety and brings you back to reality. When you feel anxious, stop and name 5 things you can see: your phone, a chair, the sky, anything around you. 4 things you can touch: your shirt, your hair, your desk. 3 things you can hear: cars outside, birds, your breathing. 2 things you can smell: coffee, fresh air. 1 thing you can taste: gum, water, the aftertaste of your last meal. Why does this work? Because it forces your brain to focus on what's real instead of the imagined fears in your head. It's a game changer. 2. Separate what you can control from what you can't. A huge reason anxiety takes over: you spend too much time worrying about things you have 0 control over. Example: you can't control if people will judge you. You can't control if your boss will like your idea. You can't control the economy. But here's what you see: and control how much effort you put in, how you prepare, how you respond to situations. Try this. Make 2 lists, 1 for what's in your control and 1 for what isn't. Every time you catch yourself stressing over something outside your control, shift your energy to what you can change instead. This simple mindset shift can cut your anxiety in half. 3. Take action before you feel ready. One of the biggest lies anxiety tells you is you're not ready yet. You can't apply for that job yet. You shouldn't start that project yet. You're not prepared enough. Here's the truth: you will never feel 100% ready. The more you wait for the perfect moment, the worse your anxiety gets. Example: think about learning to swim. You can watch all the videos, read all the articles, and mentally prepare as much as you want, but at some point, you have to jump in the water. That's how anxiety works. Action is the cure. The moment you start moving, your brain realizes, oh, this isn't as scary as I thought. 4. Breathe like a Navy SEAL. Seriously, it works. Ever notice how anxiety makes your heart race and your breathing shallow? That's because your body thinks you're in danger, even when you're not. One way to calm down instantly: box breathing, a breathing technique used by Navy SEALs to stay calm under extreme pressure. Try this. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Repeat a few times, and your heart rate will slow down, your body will relax, and your brain will stop freaking out. 5. Move your body. Anxiety hates it. When you're anxious, your body fills up with stress hormones like cortisol. If you don't release them, they build up and make you feel even worse. The best way to stop that: move. Fastest fixes for instant relief. Take a 10-minute walk. Bonus points if it's outside. Do 20 jumping jacks. Stretch for 5 minutes. Play your favorite song and dance like nobody's watching. It sounds simple, but trust me, it works. 6. Reframe anxiety. Stop fighting it. Most people try to fight anxiety, but that actually makes it worse. Instead of resisting it, try reframing how you see it. Example: instead of "I'm so anxious, I hate this feeling," try "my body is preparing me to focus and perform well." Instead of "what if I," try "what if I learn something valuable?" Your brain listens to what you tell it. Change the story, and you change how you feel. Final thoughts: anxiety doesn't have to control you. Here's the deal: you're never going to get rid of anxiety completely, and that's okay. The goal isn't to eliminate it, it's to manage it, control it, and use it to your advantage. Anxiety is only a problem when it stops you from living your life. But if you learn how to handle it, it can actually make you stronger, sharper, and more resilient. What's next? In my upcoming videos, I'll go even deeper into how to rewire your brain, stop overthinking, and break free from anxiety for good. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. This could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. So, is anxiety good or bad? Here's the truth. All right, let's wrap this up. After breaking down anxiety, the good, the bad, and everything in between, there's one big question left. Is anxiety actually good or bad? Well, here's the truth. It depends on how you handle it. Anxiety itself isn't the enemy. In fact, it's a natural part of being human. The problem isn't that you feel anxious. The problem is how you respond to it. So let's break it down one last time. When anxiety is good, yes, it can help you. There's a reason anxiety exists. It keeps you sharp, focused, and prepared. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, this is important. Pay attention. It pushes you to prepare for challenges. It keeps you alert in risky situations. It motivates you to improve and succeed. Example, ever felt nervous before an important interview? That little bit of anxiety makes you prepare, practice, and show up ready to win. That's anxiety working for you. When you know how to manage it, anxiety can actually be a superpower. When anxiety is bad and how it works against you, anxiety turns into a problem when it stops being helpful and starts taking over your life. Instead of motivating you, it paralyzes you. Instead of helping you prepare, it makes you overthink everything. Instead of keeping you alert, it leaves you exhausted. Example, if you've ever wanted to start something new, apply for a job, speak up in a meeting, or take a big step but anxiety made you freeze, doubt yourself, or completely shut down, that's when it's working against you. If your anxiety is stopping you from living your life, chasing your goals, or being happy, that's when you know it's a problem. So, what's the answer? How do you stay in control? Here's the key. Don't get rid of anxiety. You learn to control it. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety. That's impossible, but to make sure it's working for you, not against you. Recognize it is your anxiety helping or hurting you. Reframe it instead of fearing anxiety. See it as a tool for growth. Take action. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. The best way to beat anxiety? Face it head on. Final thoughts. The choice is yours. At the end of the day, anxiety isn't the villain. It's how you use it that matters. So, ask yourself, is your anxiety making you stronger, or is it holding you back? If it's the latter, it's time to take control. What's next? In my upcoming videos, I'll break down practical techniques to rewire your brain, stop overthinking, and turn anxiety into a strength. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. This could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for.